You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. MoneroTopia starts now.
All right.
All righty.
Good morning.
Good morning. Cheerios. Happy Sunday.
It's been a long weekend, huh?
Yes, it has been. Very, very long.
Those extra 2 days really make a tremendous difference.
I know. It's felt like a nice long vacation.
It's almost a little too long.
I enjoyed it. I don't know about you.
No, I had a good time.
Did you now? Did you?
A lot of family time.
Yeah.
Hope everybody had some good family time, wherever you may be. Obviously, not everybody celebrates Thanksgiving, but those that do, hope you had a good time.
Yes, I hope so too.
So what's going on?
Oh, so many things as usual. Every week is like nonstop action.
So the new event is finally ready to be released. Guys, big deal. We didn't give up.
We didn't give up. We kept chugging through.
We forged ahead. We heard everybody's feedback. I don't know. I guess there'll be those that still don't like what we're doing, but we responded to the situation, which was an unfortunate one. We used that as motivation to try to come up with a solution that would make for an event that can cater to all beliefs. And we're pretty proud of it. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The website came out really, really awesome.
As we've said before, we've had a lot of people that reached out that were like, encouraging us, telling us to keep going. Out of those people that already had bought early bird tickets, I think it was only one person had asked for their money back after the debacle.
But actually, I emailed them and they never got back to me. So I guess they're just kind of sitting it through.
If you still want your money back, let us know. And that goes to anybody else. But hopefully nothing has really changed. If anything, the event has only gotten better. So
the new and improved MoneroTopia.
We basically you want to bring it up?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. So we're really excited about it. Untraceable really helped us out.
So he might jump on at some point. Untraceable was crucial in helping us with the first go around, and then he helped us improve it. So basically what we did is the event still essentially the same by day. So curated speakers by day, like a traditional.
Drum roll. Here it is, guys.
Beautiful. Gorgeous. XMR for all. I can't read it over there, but go ahead. What does it say?
Yeah, XMR for all, April 7th, same date, Miami Beach, Florida. It's a hybrid event, curated by day, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then uncensored by night, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. or until we get kicked out, basically. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
So the way it's going to work is the daytime events. It's going to be like any traditional conference. We're going to pick speakers. We'll scroll down. We'll show you. We have a couple of really good people that are confirmed. And the idea with the daytime is, we want high-level Monero talks. So kind of similar to what happened at MoneroCon. My understanding is there's another one that's being planned. It was on and off, but it looks like they're making some headway now. But we want that to kind of mimic a MoneroCon type style during the day. So some high-level Monero speakers, devs that are working on things, the type of people that we have on Monero Talk often. So that's going to be our daytime set. We have 3 people confirmed for that. You want to scroll down? And the idea is to maybe get at least another 3, maybe more, depending on how long people say their talks are going to be.
Does it take time speakers? Drum roll. We got Francisco Cabaños.
Nice.
Arctic Mine. We have Lee Claggett, aka VT Nerd, and Elizabeth, who's working on XMR and Ether atomic swaps.
Yeah, she was on last week.
Yeah, she was on last week, so we
So that'd
reached
be
out to her,
cool.
and she's
Nice to
excited to
have
come on. Yeah,
nice to have a female up there.
yeah, I'm really excited. Woohoo!
So yeah, anybody that's listening that thinks they want to be a daytime part of the daytime session, reach out to us. Somebody that's, maybe you have a new paper that you're working on, something that you want to present to the Monero community. Once again, we're kind of looking for like the high level, super Monero focused stuff. People that are working on the protocol. Then by night,
Drum roll.
it's a free for all.
The
So
After Dark speakers.
the After Dark
Ooh.
speakers, anybody can register themselves. So you click that little button there, super simple registration form. We literally just ask for your email. And we ask if you want to speak for, 15 minutes, a half hour, or an hour. And we then ask you to pay us 2 XMR down payment that will be refunded to
It's
you.
refunded
if you show up and
if
speak.
you show up, yeah.
Obviously, we have some general guidelines there. We want you to come and talk about free speech money. Your talk should be somehow related to this concept of Monero and free speech money. But you're free to book yourself. All you have to do is put down that Monero down payment. Now, what we're going to do is we're only going to release, I think, 1 or 2 spots at a time, so that we don't just get a deluge and everybody just takes all the spots. I don't know how many spots we're going to have. Once again, it depends on how long people are requesting to speak for. And that's that. What else we got?
Oh, and now we have a special performance by.
Oh my God. How did I forget this?
Trying to scroll up. I don't know why it's lagging. We have a special performance by speakers. Crypto Bear.
Crypto Bear. Confirmed. He said
Confirmed.
he'll be there.
He confirmed, yeah. So we're really excited about that.
He's going to try to maintain his anonymity. Or his, he's not, he's going to try to not reveal who he is. As long as he shows up in a bear costume, I guess he'll be.
Yeah, okay. I know that. We'll know who he is.
I don't know if he'll be out in the audience and then he'll sneak away and then there'll be people trying to figure out who is.
It's going to be a mystery. Yeah, we even have no idea how he's going to pull it off. We all don't. So.
Yeah, we'll probably have him perform during the After Dark or maybe as the intro to the After Dark speakers. We'll come up with something.
We're figuring that out again.
That should be fun. And then once again, also, like we had said first go around, so there'll be plenty of drinks going around, plenty of coffee, gratuitous coffee. We'll have a bar you could pay with Monero. We're going to try to keep the drinks super cheap. The ticket prices are super cheap. Basically, we're just trying to cover our costs right now. Doesn't look like we are. No. But we'll see.
Please purchase your tickets now.
We haven't even tried to get sponsors yet, which leads us to the last thing. Somebody actually reached out to us.
Yeah, they reached out to us. None other than where is it? Whoop, down here.
All the way down.
Coin cards. Yay!
Thank you, Coin Cards, for being
thank you so much. Our first
sponsor, believing in us.
And they are an awesome product. Anyway, we've been using them and
we use them all the time. It's how we buy our Amazon food and groceries. And Whole Foods
and goodies
so that's cool. So
right now the tickets are the early adopter are they're at 59, so try to get them as soon as you can because they're gonna go up.
Go ahead, click the buy now link.
Ooh, let's do that. Let's buy now.
Let's buy one right now. You know what? I want to buy one. Actually, I bought one last night just to retest it out. It all works good. Untraceable fixed up that section as well. It's pretty smooth checkout, guys. So we integrated now payments into it. We only accept crypto. It's like a 3-click process, and it asks you to, if you've ever used the now payments thing, it's pretty slick and simple. An address pops up. You got to send your crypto. You could send, I don't know, there's various cryptos they accept, and then it will auto convert it and send it off to us as Monero. So yeah, good stuff. So buy your tickets now, and that's really it. I don't know when we're going to raise the prices. That will happen at some point. The idea is to encourage you guys to sign up, so it gives the event more momentum, and we have.
Yeah, and the venue is really nice. Also, I don't think we talked about the venue.
The venue, it's the Miami Beach Women's Club, which is like a few blocks away from the Miami conference.
Yeah,
walking distance.
Yeah, it's like a 10-minute walk.
Yeah, it's really nice. Just a big room, really. It's actually pretty classy. It's got a nice stage. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. We're gonna have DJ. It's gonna, I'm excited about it. It's gonna be like kind of similar to our Monero parties, except obviously with the speakers and everything.
So. Yeah, we'll have to see how we kind of cram everything in, but we'll be there the whole day. I'm sure.
All day.
It'll work. Get the speakers off the stage, put the music back on. People head to the bar. They get some drinks. It'll be good. All right.
Yeah, so go to Monerotopia.com to buy your ticket today, or to check it out,
or to anonymously book yourself as a speaker.
Ooh, yeah, I'm curious to see who will be speaking. I'm excited.
I think Chris Sky's gonna sign up.
I don't know.
I'm not reaching out to him, but if you guys want to, hey, it's open for all. It's open for all. That's the funniest part after all this, like that he started turning on me. I was like, dude, I'm on your side, man.
Pretty hilarious.
So
I guess
bring up our guest.
Yeah, sure. Let's we're doing price report first. Or
let's do the price report.
Let's do the price report first.
Let's do it.
So the MoneroTopia price report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer. All righty.
Beautiful. We got a fungible again.
How's it going?
Hi, guys. All good? Just sipping coffee with Monero.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. Let me share my screen.
Thanks for doing this again. You did a great job last week. A lot of people reached out. They liked what you were doing. So appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. No problem. So can you see my screen? Great. So I'm not doing a presentation this time, but just kind of a walkthrough about what I'm going to present. I'll be showing some charts as well. So basically, where do we begin? I'm going to just cover the technical analysis first, and then I'm going to go to fundamental analysis, and I'm also going to talk about a little bit of news that is going to happen probably from tomorrow on, which might have an indication on the effect of price. So anyways, so just to begin with the technical analysis part, I'm just going to cover the XMR USD chart and how that is going, and also the XMR BTC chart using the 4 standard indicators, which are RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, and Supertrend. And I'll be covering some network parameters, which are quite important just to see how we are doing fundamentally on the Monero blockchain itself, which is one of the first one I'm going to cover is the average fee per transaction, how much it costs to send the Monero transactions, how easy is it to mine today as a miner for Monero, as well as the number of transactions per day for Monero. And yeah, the last part, as I said, was I think something you would have already heard, but I'm just going to cover this, the India's regulation of private cryptocurrencies. So I'll just go back to the chart with the fundamental part. Can you see my chart? Can you see my screen easily?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Oh, cool. That's good. So this is just a weekly chart, so you can choose any kind of daily or monthly or weekly. So the farther away we go, so let's say if you are choosing 4 hourly or weekly, the farther away we go, we get more accuracy about what is happening. So just to give you an indication, this is something called the RSI indicator, which is basically shows the magnitude of recent gains and loss, which also indicates the overbought and oversold conditions. So we have a range between 30 on the downside, or you can say 20 on the downside and 80 on the upside. So when it reaches on the top side, it's more of the overbought condition, and when it goes to the downside, it's oversold condition. So we want to always, on the technical side, on a short time, we want to be able to buy the asset when it goes down, along with other indicators. So this is just for our viewers to see when we had this kind of crazy peak around the end of 2017, the RSI on the weekly charts was really overbought. And also the kind of crazy run that we had recently in April, May of this year, the RSI was overbought, as you can see here. And when it reaches overbought, it has to reverse. I mean, that's like the whole idea of technical analysis in this case. We also see it alongside with other indicators just to make sure that our indications are right. So you see this is MACD line, which is moving average convergent divergence. This also had a great run up, which is kind of like an overbought condition. And when it crossed the green line, crossed the red line on the downside, then we had this thing sliding down. And the same thing happened here. But at this moment in time, where are we right now? We are actually in a no man's land, no man's territory. It's not doing a great price action in the sense of it's more of a consolidation band as we speak. And you would also see it's kind of at the baseline, the MACD. So we are basically, this indicates that we are kind of in a downward trend, but in a more of a consolidation trend around the 200 odd range. And this is the one with the Bollinger Bands. Just to quickly say about what Bollinger Bands is, it's you see this. Let me highlight this just a second. The one that you see in the center, this is the moving average that the price basically is following, and the bands that you see around it are basically telling us about the two standard deviations that is plotted around the center line, which is the moving average. So this is basically a measure of volatility of the asset. So it either, you would see that it either expands or contracts. So when there was like a huge run up, you'd see that there is an expansion of this Bollinger Band, and when there is a consolidation, there is a contraction of the Bollinger Band. And you would see at this moment in time, we are somewhere in this range of contraction. And the good thing about contraction is that the more we contract, it's a leading indicator of volatility to arrive. So we can expect probably in the future, I don't know when that is, we can see something like a band going up and down. And at this point in time, we are at the lower point of the band, which is like we should stick along with this price. So I expect that we maintain the price levels of 210, which is kind of like the bottom. But if we break that, the next level will be around 180. So we have to maintain these two levels. So what we also see right now is on more of the technical time frame on a short term, we are somewhere around neutral to sell zone, which is, the price action is a bit lazy. It's not doing something great, but this is only on the lower time frames. However, if you see the XMR BTC chart, so it may not be the best in terms of money to trade XMR USD, but for XMR BTC, let's say if you have one BTC and you want to sell it, it can be quite an amazing trade because the stochastic RSI is at oversold conditions. So if you want to trade BTC for XMR, that could be a very good trade, because even if BTC falls down, XMR would fall down less relative to that. So this is where we are on the, it's still a buy against the BTC, you see here. And as far as the fundamental part is concerned, I'll just quickly arrive at that. This is the Monero chart for the transaction fees in the coming, in the history of that. You would see that there is a sudden dip of the transaction fees over time. And how did this happen? And that was because of the technology of Monero, which introduced the bulletproofs and the other things in the recent past. Yeah, so the transaction fees are really low. It's less than around $0.01 basically. It's going around that. But if you were to compare that against Bitcoin, you would see that it's still always struggling. So whenever there is a peak in the price of Bitcoin, the fees you would see on the top left, it's really $50, and this comes down, and there is going to be another peak. Let's say we go to $100,000, the fees is again going to come back. Although there are developments happening in Taproot and SegWit, we still see, because of the block size is constant, but Monero is not that. It has a variable block size. So the fees is going to be this way, even if whatever happens to Monero. So that's an excellent thing. And also, as far as the miner difficulty goes, you would see that it's constantly rising, which is also an indication that more miners are joining the network, and therefore it's becoming relatively more difficult to mine over time. So yeah, that is mostly a gist of where we are on the fundamental side. Fundamentally, we are doing good. Technically, we are struggling a little bit on the short time frames. And perhaps lastly, I want to also mention one thing about what is happening, because Kraken UK had, as we know, put a moratorium on buying and selling of Monero in UK recently, as we all know. However, there is something going to happen in India tomorrow, because India is going to introduce 26 bills for the winter session of Parliament, and one of the bill is going to be, as I just put on here, regulation of private cryptocurrencies. And it's not very clear as what private actually means. Is it like all the cryptocurrencies, because they want to introduce a CBDC as well, central bank digital currency, or is it something like the privacy cryptocurrencies? And we will know in a week's time what's going to happen, because you see that there was recently, last week, there was a FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, where this news was announced. Bill hasn't been passed yet. Monero price went down to $140 in the Indian markets. So we have to wait and watch what the announcement is going to be in the coming days. I don't think they're going to put a ban to it, but if they say something about private cryptocurrencies like Monero, then of course the trading exchanges will have to delist that, let's say, because and also, last thing, on a good note, I think a lot of people did not know about Monero, just like they did not know too much about Bitcoin in 2015-16, and the demonetization happened in India. A lot of people went into Bitcoin. So similarly, I don't know what happens with the Monero part, but I think there's way more awareness. All the Indian news channels are talking about Monero, as I see today as we speak. So yeah, that concludes my price report. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Very good.
What the that one chart the chart you showed in the beginning? I'm not a TA guy by any measure. That basically shows the historic. Yeah. Is that potentially a huge cup and handle? I always hear that terminology get thrown around. Is that or it doesn't?
You mean for the Bollinger Band, or you mean this one?
The one that shows, the price going up and then dipping off as it is and consolidating. Is that potentially being a handle? I'm not a TA guy, as you can probably tell.
There is one thing I can say. There is a potential of a double bottom, because you see the price is around $210. It's bouncing off of this, which is and it should not test this part. I would say, again, if it breaks this, then we have to go to the next support level, which is around $180. So we have to we don't have to break this one, because if we break this, we directly fall to $180 of sorts.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question, but
no.
Yeah.
It answers the question. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
so
thank
Monero, as always, is hanging in there. Any day now, guys. Any day now. We'll see what happens.
And any more questions or something? Or
no, I think we're good, man. Amazing. Thank you
right.
for covering it all, doing the price, and then once again talking about some of the actual just metrics of what's going on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It
was still a bit longer, I guess, but I think it's just
no, it's perfect.
Perfect.
Okay,
don't worry about
perfect.
it.
The only thing you could do better is tell us, the price is going to go to, $10,000 a coin.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
it's exaggerating a little bit.
Well, maybe I will cover this in one of the follow-ups in the near future about why Monero holders need patience. There's a nice chart I can draw, which kind of shows the histogram distribution of how many times Monero does this, 100x to the moon.
Right. The thing is, it just happens out of nowhere, right? And you could be sitting there forever, and you end up missing the train when it leaves the station.
True.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you. I will anyway tune into the show offline.
Cheers.
All right, awesome.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have our guest segment. Woo!
Back to back.
Back to back. Woohoo! The MoneroTopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys. All righty, we got a Clarity Focus on. Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you guys doing? Can you hear
Good,
me
good.
okay?
Yeah, man. I think we got you pretty well. Thanks for jumping on.
Hey, yeah, thanks for inviting me, and thanks for you and Sunita for doing all the work towards Monero community to create the awareness and also for the coffee as well. I've not yet had it, but I'm sure it tastes great.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's really delicious.
Thanks for jumping
Cool.
on. I've seen you around a while now. I've seen you on Twitter and elsewhere, and you're tweeting about Monero. So I reached out. I know you want, I guess, tell us a little bit about yourself and the projects that you're working on in the space.
Yes, of course. For my introduction, I'm just using a pseudonym. That's the name of my newsletter, actually. So I'm based in South Asia, and where I live, the government doesn't have a well-defined set of regulations on any digital assets or crypto as such yet. So it's not really clear what sort of approach they are going to take. So basically, just to avoid any confrontation, I'm just staying pseudonymous as of now. So I have an engineering background. I have over a decade of experience working in the tech industry. But did not start off as a developer. I'm not a big coder as such, but I've worked on integration testing between web applications, web services, and other enterprise software. I was also involved in product design, UX research, and creating user scenarios and optimal workflows for various applications. So most of our clients were big banks and big tech names. So my role required me to work closely with the developers and product teams, and I could always see the kind of differences between what the users of the product expect and what the developers would generally focus only on the tech and less on the actual experience. So which is quite relevant to Monero. I'll just touch on it a little bit later. Finance has always been a passion, and I've always been looking for financial opportunities. And from the past couple of years, the world has never been the same. So in that situation, I've also, started giving serious thought about crypto. And first, I got into Bitcoin, and then that is generally what is supposed to be cash. And now, due to the optimizations of what they had, it turned out to be I see it as a store of value or an asset, hard asset with scarcity, and also very deep liquidity. So this wasn't the case before, as you know, until Bitcoin came in. The world didn't have this kind of an asset. So that has been solving for that. But once I dived deeper into the crypto space, I found Monero, and this privacy aspect, really I was drawn to it, and also the mining aspect. That we all know that Bitcoin was initially designed to be as egalitarian as Monero, but however, it was then taken over by the ASICs. So I started mining Monero as well, and just to see if it works, and it did. And compared to now, about 2 years, nearly 18 months, or from 18 months in the past, the hash rate was much lower than where it is now. So I could easily mine. Now I'm not too much into it, but yeah. So that's how I got into Monero, and eventually I realized that this is what. And then I got down the rabbit hole, of course, and I listened to your show, your talks, and Daniel Kim and many others in this space. And then I realized, and I decided to promote this. This is really freedom money. I feel. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Awesome.
Sorry, it was a long answer.
No worries. And so your newsletter, you focus on all different cryptos, or you focus a lot on Monero? What's the newsletter all about?
Basically, yeah, I started it to cover what's happening in mainstream crypto, how mainstream society is actually adopting crypto in different cases. Like I'm trying to look at different use cases for crypto and see how it's being entering into the mainstream world. So this year, as you know, this has been mostly about institutions entering Bitcoin as an inflation hedge. that was started by MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor also is a big advocate in this space. And this year has been great for, this cycle basically has been great for DeFi, L1 smart contract platforms, like, to name a few, Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, and so on. And NFTs has been a new craze, and it's all about flexing their new profile pics, of course. Similarly, I feel there will be a day when the mass attention comes to privacy as well. So, yeah, so it's all a matter of trigger. What creates that? So, yeah, so we can talk about, like, I'm sure there will be a case for Monero when it will be the go-to thing, just like how the hot topics are today. And of course, the meme tokens are always there. That's where all the retail money is, I guess, and the exchanges use this opportunity to list them immediately and to catch in on the fees. So they are also not that they serve any purpose, but it's mostly fun, and suppose they have their fair share of publicity as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And so do you find, I guess you wouldn't know, but what are most people subscribing to you for? Where are you getting the most traction?
Yeah, I have written some long form articles, but I'm also focused on building my portfolio, and I've invested in several different areas of crypto that from the past almost 2 years now. So I see that I want to write every week consistently, but that's not usually possible. So I few months ago I started this weekly series called Tweets into Thoughts, where basically I as most of us in crypto, we don't really need to look at any mainstream news. All we need to do is be on Twitter and search for hashtags, and you'll find everything there. So what I do, I just curate a list of what happens in the past week related to mainstream crypto adoption, including maybe Bitcoin or someone entering the new space, or something happening with the metaverse, NFTs, and of course privacy. What's the developments? And I just try to curate them and put them into one post and post it every week, and that's what I do consistently when I'm not writing articles. So that's also to improve my just to keep writing. And when I try to write, I write slightly more detailed ones. I think the ones you reached out to me after that, wrote a post about El Salvador when they started using Bitcoin as a legal tender. I wrote some history about what led to this decision, and some other findings what I've come across, and some implications what they are likely to witness in the medium to long term. So yeah,
very cool, man.
Yeah.
I think let's keep you up here, and we're going to run through the news, and then we could maybe get some of your input on that. So we'll
sure.
We'll jump into the news report, and then we'll let people up on stage after that, but we could go over it with you as well. I saw people making comments. Somebody was asking why the earplug swag. So that's for anybody that's coming to MoneroTopia that may not want to hear the person on stage, particularly during the after dark hours. If you want to opt out and not listen, you
walk away, put on those earplugs.
Earplugs will be provided to all. So it's just a way for everybody to fairly participate.
Yes.
Opt in and opt out as you choose. Should we run through the news? Thank you so much. Clarity Focus. Stay with us, and we're gonna talk about some news events, and we could get your feedback on it.
Yeah, sure.
All right. And now for our weekly news segment. Always love that. All right, our
who's our weekly news segment sponsored by? We don't have a sponsor.
No,
yet?
we don't.
So
have
if you're
a
out there and you want to sponsor our weekly news segment,
we can. Hold on. There you
get your links.
Yeah, it's lagging a little for some reason. I guess
we got a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So
it lags, but
I believe
the first one.
First one was the tweet that Justin put out. Is that what you got up there?
Yep,
yes. So obviously we all know about the Kraken delisting in the UK. Justin reached out to the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. I guess they're the regulators that would oversee UK Kraken, and basically flat out asked them, like, what's going on? Why is Kraken being told they need to delist Monero in the UK? Can you point out to the specific regulation or guidance that's saying so? And they basically said, as far as they're aware, there is no regulation that they know of that would force Kraken to do this. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool that Justin made that move and got an answer so quickly. I thought that was interesting. But then Jesse Powell, who is the CEO and founder of Kraken, he responded, the FCA reads my tweets, so they should be popping up in here any minute to clarify that not finding something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So your guess is as good as mine, guys. I don't know what's going on. If anybody wants to pop up on stage that has more thoughts on this, please do. We had a good conversation with Arctic Mine about it last week, about the delisting and his theory that it's basically the chain analysis companies kind of in the background, pulling the strings, lobbying people, and getting things done to essentially keep their service relevant. In a pure Monero world where all exchanges are using Monero and accepting Monero, and more people are using Monero, it's going to be harder for these chain analytics companies to essentially offer their services. So that's where we're at. That Clarity Focus. Do you have any opinion on that? Have you been following that news story at all?
Yeah, I have. It is possible, but usually what what we have seen is other than the chain analysis company, the surveillance companies, it could be the regulators who generally view privacy coins as something which is not really great. It's kind of like only for criminals and so on. We've heard about something called as the travel rule by FATF. This was I heard first from Coin Bureau. You must have known Guy. He runs a very good YouTube channel on crypto. He's covered Monero as well. So he has mentioned in his video that the privacy coins will be under serious scrutiny going forward. And to be honest, I would expect even this crackdown could eventually come to the US Kraken as well, and also many other jurisdictions. So ideally the Monero community should actually look for different on ramps and off ramps, just like how some of the wallets are doing. They're within on wallet swaps and so on. That's the best way to handle this.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's the default of the Monero community. Everybody's kind of responding to it that way. Well, we don't really care. We'll just use our Monero as we wish. And it's better if people move off of centralized exchanges anyway and learn to use these other tools that are being built to allow that will give people access to Monero. Next story was another tweet. This guy. Yeah, I don't know exactly who he is. But he was kicked off of Kraken. So another Kraken story. And he didn't really understand why, and he got very little information from Kraken. But apparently it was because he was doing coin joins in his, any Bitcoin that he was sending to the exchange, I guess, had previously been mixed, and he was flagged and he was booted from the exchange. So that's another interesting story. Obviously, if with Monero, that wouldn't even be possible. They wouldn't be able to see a history attached. So that kind of got a lot of traction in the Monero community this week. What else we got? We'll continue to run through these, and then anybody that wants to comment on them, we'll bring them up. What's the next one we had on there?
Pictures from.
Oh, yeah. So that was a popular post this week on Reddit. Havana looks like they're making a lot of progress. We need to do a show with them. Hopefully we get somebody that can come on and talk about the progress they're making. So obviously anybody who's in the Monero community has probably heard of Havana at this point. They're attending to be the Monero based BISC, so a decentralized exchange that's based on Monero as the primary trading pair. So super exciting to see that getting built out, and it's making progress. And I guess the site itself is looking good. People are excited about that. Next story.
Is a CC.
Oh, CCS. So somebody had pointed out, and I think it's good that we point this out too. So there's a bunch of ideas in the CCS that people are trying to move over into the funding stage. So encourage anybody that's watching this, check it out. Go to the ccs.getmonero.org. You could check out the ideas section, and you'll see which ones are still kind of waiting to be put into the funding stage. And it helps, obviously, if you go in there and you comment on the idea, whether or not you think it's good or bad. It helps move it along one way or the other. So I see the Monero Observer guy, he's looking for more funding. We were trying to get him on to do price reports with us. So, guys, show him some love. He does some good work. Getting to Grips with Monero mini-series. This is pretty cool. These guys are making short information videos with regards to Monero, tutorials, essentially. They made a few good ones. They made a mining Monero one with P2 Pool that got a lot of traction, and they're setting out to make a bunch of other ones, like, running full nodes, things like that, like basic things that people would want to, people getting involved in Monero that don't really know much can watch and learn and figure out how to do these things. Start using Monero, running a node, mining Monero. So very cool. They're making progress. Once again, advise people to check that out. Maybe give them some comments, and it'll help move it into the funding stage. This next one, I don't even know what it is. I opened it up before. It doesn't really make sense. So I don't think that's going to make much headway. That regional lottery community, I don't even know what they're talking about there. The Monero community anthem. We had those guys on a few weeks ago. So they're still sitting in the idea stage. I don't know, guys. Do we want a Monero anthem? I mean, it sounds cool, but I think they were asking for quite a bit. They do really good work. I thought it was cool. But yeah, show them some love. At least comment on their idea, and it will help moving along. And then Italian mastering Monero. Sure, why not? Let's see mastering Monero in Italian.
Spread the word.
Let's spread the word. What else? What other news stories we got?
We have this one. Sorry. It's possible. Oh, Cake Wallet looks for.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a good post. Yeah. Was one of the most highly rated posts this week on Reddit. Cake Wallet, just making it clear to everyone that they always look to the community first when they're trying to hire somebody or get somebody to help out with something. And we couldn't possibly agree more. They've been major supporters of our show and everything we do, and we see them reaching out to people all the time. They recently hired Justin, and he's, I think already making a lot of headway over there. So it's just good to know. Cake's putting the word out that they always try to look to the community first when they're hiring people, which we did this week.
Yeah,
right?
We did. Yeah, I was going to talk
we
about
put up a post
about hiring a social media marketing person.
And we got a lot of responses.
We got a lot of love.
A lot of responses, guys.
Yeah, we're going to be speaking to them today.
It's not a full-time job.
No, it's not,
we have some tasks that need to be done on a regular basis, and we will be looking to pay in Monero.
It's not even like necessarily like a part-time gig. It's like per task basis.
It could get pretty rigorous, but it was cool to see all the responses, and we'll be reaching out to everybody. We set up phone calls with everyone.
Today, so.
But yeah, Cake does this all the time. They do a great job of that, giving back to the community and always looking to the community for gaining support, for when they need to get things done. So they even said in this post, reach out to them, even if they don't have anything right now, just to let Vic let Cake know that in general, you have some skill set and you're interested in potentially working on Cake, and at least he'll know that you exist when he does try to do something in the future that might relate to what you do.
He'll know you exist.
Yeah.
And then the last post. Here.
What was the last one?
I am Monero XMR. Please allow me to introduce myself.
Oh, that was A Fungibles post. So that was one of the highest rated posts this week. Check it out. He wrote a nice long post about from the standpoint of Monero. If Monero were a person talking, I thought it was cool. A lot of people loved it, and he touches on some really important things there. So show that some love. That was cool. I say now we bring people up, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Clarity can stay up here if you like.
It's the Viewers on Stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down. Never forget that.
Come on down, guys. We see comments. People writing comments. Come on, jump up and say them in person. You don't have to put your camera on. You can disguise. Oh, look, we got a turkey. There we go. That's how you do it.
Hanging out.
That's how you do it.
Untraceable.
Yes. That's untraceable.
Yes, that's untraceable.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Love it. Love it.
Amazing. And who else we got? Ian? Yep.
Oh,
yes, hello. I'm a very big fan of the MoneroTopia channel, and I just wanted to come here and talk with you, be part of the community.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Is there anything in particular you want to bring up?
Well, first of all, I wanted to share my experience because I'm very new. It's been like 1 month since I discovered Monero through oh my god, YouTuber Mental Outlaw, if you know him. I even send you an email trying to get you to in contact with us. He's a very privacy guy. So, and I first downloaded the GUI and find it great that I could pay my friend that is in another country with below 1 cent of fees. I think it was amazing. It was a revolution, And I wanted to put on my phone a wallet, and I searched for Cake Wallet, and I love Cake Wallet. It's been great, but their rating on the App Store is kind of low. So just before everything, I would encourage everyone on the show to maybe go and give them a high review, 5 stars, so we can bump up their rating. Just that. I just wanted to say that.
That's a great idea, man. That's a simple thing people can do to show support to everything that Vic does and Cake does. It helps Cake grow, and it's good for the Monero community too, because people then find the right tool to use. We see some other scammy projects out there that I don't even know how they get these ratings, and they end up being the things that people see first. So good point there.
Yes, and I wanted to say that this week I've been very sad, and it's cringe for me when I see that literally video games coins like Sand Blocks and Mana are literally above Monero. It's very sad for me. And it's like in 10 years, we are going to pay international trade will happen in Clash of Clans gems. Yes, it's too, but whatever.
Yeah, it's exactly the trigger what I mentioned earlier. That happened for the video game or the so-called metaverse tokens. That's what happened. The trigger was the Facebook rebrand to Meta. That's what caused the pump, and it's still pumping. The Sand, Mana, and all of them.
Yes.
So that was the trigger. So similarly, I believe there's a trigger for privacy-oriented coins where Monero is the leader right now. So basically, can I talk about that? Actually,
sure.
Why I think so. Yeah. So let's go back. Why I say that there's a trigger is needed always. Let's go back 10 months earlier. That is to January of this year. The major news then was, as you know, the Capitol Hill incident in the US. So, but something else happened that same month. That is the updated terms and service of the messaging app WhatsApp. So, what happened? Suddenly, they came up with the new terms of service that the data will probably be shared with the parent company as such. And immediately, it's also triggered by some, Elon Musk, who just tweeted out saying use Signal, and so there was a mass flood of users immediately downloading and installing Signal. Their servers broke, and the app wasn't really working for a number of hours. So it seems later it was analyzed they had millions of users trying to install at once. Signal was around at least 3 years before that happened. That so that did not happen until that trigger came, when that WhatsApp came up with that kind of update terms of service. That's when everyone at once migrated to Signal, and that's the kind of trigger which I'm talking about. So it's likely to happen with Monero. I think there are two possible triggers. One is the implementation of CBDC, central bank digital currency, on a major jurisdiction like US or some. It's already happening in China, but I don't know how many Chinese users are active in Monero. But the other reason I think is a new ridiculous kind of tax on your crypto gains, or something which is which the US Senator, Elizabeth Warren, I think she talks about this unrealized capital gains. If something like that happens, that also is could be a trigger for major adoption, major step of adoption by the masses for Monero and other privacy coins. So
very good points, but go ahead if you continue.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, what I was saying is, like, if any developers are watching, I mean, as a community, we need to optimize for these triggers. When should this happen? So should these kind of triggers happen, the users will look for something more easy. What is more easy to on ramp? What is more easy to acquire? That's what they are going to go into. To say, I mean, like, for example, if you want to use DeFi, I mean, if you're new into this, people who, if they use Ethereum, they would spend a lot of money paying the gas fees. So instead, people are now moving on. At least the new users are coming on to something like Solana and some other layer one chains, Avalanche, Phantom, maybe, or some others. So because they are much easier to use, and people at this time, they'll not think about the decentralization or security as such. Only the I think only the big money thinks about it, at least as of now. So if the more easier we make it for the not so tech savvy or not someone who is generally called by the media as a nerd, the more easier we make it for a normal person to acquire Monero, that's what they're going to choose. And this is where the competition is between the privacy coins, because at that time the public would rather go to the easiest privacy coin which they can acquire, and not the hardest one. So they will not think about which is the most widely used and so on. So that's really critical for us. Yeah.
Right, but the problem with that is that's where we get into the on-ramp situation, right? So
yeah,
as Monero gets delisted from centralized exchanges, it becomes more difficult for noobs to acquire it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So this is where I guess the XMRBTC swap, and I think one is done by Commit Network, and I think the official ones from by the community is not yet ready. In the meantime, I think the only other way to on ramp is using Secret Network, using their text, that is Secret Swap. I think they have a bridged Monero into their Secret Network ecosystem. That's where somebody can acquire it. But still, even that is not as widely used as something like Ethereum as such. But it does protect some privacy. That's one way to acquire. Yeah,
and I think a good point, Sto. I think you're right. There's going to be this kind of triggering point where people wake up and realize the importance of privacy coins. I hate to call them that. And Monero will be sitting here waiting in the wings for people that want to jump on. And I think that there'll be awakening too, and people realizing that while it may not be as easy or as user-friendly to acquire Monero using things like local Monero or some of these other solutions you're talking about, Havino, which we were just speaking about, atomic swaps, while those things won't be as easy, I think there will be this enlightening moment where people start to realize the importance in obtaining crypto that way. And, maybe once they're a little bit more used to crypto, they'll be okay with going down this slightly more arduous route for obtaining.
Yes.
It's kind of like the early days of the internet, right? I mean, everybody was experiencing the internet through AOL here in the United States for some period of time in the early days. Like by and far, most people, that was like how they accessed the internet. That's how they accessed email. That's literally how they accessed the World Wide Web. It was all through AOL, and it was it was comfortable, it was easy, but then people woke up and realized there was a whole internet beyond this walled garden, and obviously the more adventurous went out there first, but eventually everybody followed and it blossomed. So I think we'll see something similar in terms of people moving from decentralized exchanges into this more decentralized way of using crypto.
Yes, they need to have a reason to protect the privacy, especially in this cycle. As I mentioned earlier, it's all about flexing their JPEGs, NFTs. But actually, what probably they may not realize that immediately that exposes their entire wallet. Anyone can actually go look up what NFT they have and check all the balance, at least for Ethereum and whatever they're using. That's the same with other currencies as well. And what Monero protects people from the financial privacy, it's still not in a way it's not sunk in yet with most people, so they don't realize the importance of that yet, but they will.
Agreed.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Untraceable, what's going on, man?
Hello all.
Hello, turkey.
You're looking good.
Looking
In the spirit of Thanksgiving, I am a turkey.
You're the lone survivor.
I know.
I have an interesting potential news segment that could have been in your news segment that you might have missed. Something else that Jess Powell, the Kraken CEO, said on Reddit yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Let me send you a link on Telegram if you want to check it out. He's talking about how it's basically the chain analysis companies that are pushing the delisting, basically what Arctic Mine has been saying, the lobbying.
And Jesse Powell's kind of confirming that from his perspective.
Yeah, he's saying that the blockchain surveillance company basically says crypto's scary and dangerous. You should be concerned. Buy our product, and this will allow you to surveil the coins that it supports. And then the regulators say, well, what about the coins you don't support? And then the chain analysis company says, well, buy our software and we'll figure out eventually how to trace them, and then we'll sell you the add-on at a later date. And then they're like, okay, cool, we're gonna just delist or push the delisting of these coins that you can't track yet until we can track them. So that's from the that's the CEO of Jess Powell, the CEO of Kraken, I mean. So
that's crazy that I didn't see that. So he posted that yesterday?
Yeah, there's the link there from Reddit.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll put that up.
It's on the screen.
Arctic Mine, I think he's got it right, So I mean, what does that really mean from the community's perspective? Well, number one, we always just keep doing things like we should be doing them, which is to just constantly try to move everybody towards decentralization and not even worrying about these centralized exchanges. So
yeah, I think with time, it's not going to matter, and it's actually going to be preferable to use the decentralized once it gets enough liquidity, of course, like once Haveno comes on, and then Thorchain is one that I'm also kind of excited for to get working. You can even provide liquidity, so a different way of trading. But yeah, eventually, I don't think it's gonna bear so much weight. These centralized exchanges and their decisions, regulators are kind of like gonna end up shooting themselves in the foot because they could have just used exchange data if they wanted to try to track Monero, but instead they're pushing everyone to more decentralized solutions, which is gonna make their job even harder if their goal is to track Monero or what their users are doing with Monero.
Right. So they might wake up to that pretty soon once they're trying to track it for some reason, and they go to, all right, what information do we have? And they're like, well, we don't have anything because they never touched an exchange because there was no exchange for them to touch. Yeah,
and all these solutions are probably going to be 2022 throughout the year. We have the Farcaster, BTC atomic swaps, and then the ETH atomic swaps are being worked on. Haveno's, I'm not sure, but I assume that sometime in 2022 it might be functional, and then Thorchain as well. So there's all of these that are probably going to start working in 2022, and it's going to just give a lot more accessibility and permissionlessness to trading and acquiring Monero.
Agree. And I guess the other thing, is just bringing exposure to it, which we're doing right now. People talking about it, get the word out there. People understand that it's most likely the chain analytics companies that are pushing this initiative and having their way with the, the regulators and the exchanges. Money talks.
Yeah,
like
Arctic Mine. Arctic Mine has had it right, really, because I remember him saying this about the chain analysis companies are the ones lobbying to have Monero removed because it kills their business. If Monero gets used enough and their whole business relies on surveillance and this coin that cannot be surveilled, so yeah, it's really bad for them. So
yep. So I think it'll work itself out, guys. It's just a matter of time. All roads lead to Monero, as we all like to say. Anybody else want to jump up on stage? Please do now.
I just wanted to ask you, how do you think this whole thing will pan out? How, in your mind, the adoption will go? Do you think we will have CBDCs before Monero, or maybe some countries being more strict on surveillance and really trapping their people, and other places like El Salvador and Bitcoin City where crypto will explode? How do you think it will happen?
I mean, that's the $1 million question, or the $1 trillion question. And nobody knows. I think the only thing we do is you could look really long term, and that Monero exists as a technology, and it's kind of won already in this use case of being digital cash, and it's there and it works and it's gained network effect. How long it takes for it to then grow larger as people realize they need it, it's really hard to say. It's what we've kind of been talking about today mostly, right? Is there going to be some triggering events that push people into it? Are there going to be some dark times, which feels a little bit like now, where it's just hard for people to obtain Monero that don't have the skills to do it, so it kind of keeps the noobs out? It's anybody's guess, but I think what you can say is, you can look at the tech, you can look at the fundamentals of the technology itself, realize that Monero is doing something that no other coin is doing. And what it's really doing is doing what crypto was meant to do. And that it's gained a network effect there. It's got the dark market. A lot of people are moving over to it. The ransomware hackers. Yes, sure. Maybe these are all bad things to point out at this time when we're concerned about regulators regulating. But the fact is, there are indications that Monero works as designed. And over time, it will just continue to grow, and those who need Monero will move over to it, and it'll be there waiting for them to adopt. However long that takes, it's really hard to say. When most people, as you know, are just using crypto to try to make more money. They have no idea what the hell's going on. They're buying, coins that will not exist in 10 years from now. And they're just trying to, 10x, 100x without even understanding what any of this stuff is. So,
yes, it is shocking. I watched the page of CoinMarketCap in 2013, and I was like, okay, I know Bitcoin, I know Litecoin, and the rest all disappeared. They all was gone. And I hope this will happen with, again, all the coins except like maybe Bitcoin, Monero, and maybe Dogecoin. And I don't know. And what do you think, guys, about the new Bitcoin City? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing because they use the Lightning Network and it's controlled by government wallets? What is your opinion on this?
I'll let others jump in on that. I haven't been following too closely. Overall, I don't like this idea of pushing people into a crypto. I mean, the whole idea is it's supposed to be this opt-in, right? Free market. It's there. If people want to use it, they can. Kind of mandating people to use it, I think, is the wrong approach, especially if you're doing it in a way that's forcing them through channels where it's not being used as it should be, right? So it's not being used peer-to-peer, but it's being used through these centralized means where people are essentially controlling the gateways. So I don't like that, but I do like that it's bringing exposure to crypto. So I'm kind of both opinions there. I do like that it does bring more exposure to crypto. What's happening in El Salvador has, everybody's got their eye on it, the entire world. And so it's good for that reason. But the approach, I don't like the approach. I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in on that.
Clarity focus? Yeah, I think you wanted to talk.
Yeah. So yeah, Doug, I agree with you on that. In El Salvador, especially, most of the people there are unbanked, and that's why the government they mandated them to use the wallet which is approved by the government, and they also partnered with Strike Global, led by Jack Mallers, to be the main service provider for remittances and so on. Yeah, it is more like a kind of a walled garden there, and I think over time people will figure out different ways of self-custodying. And once this aspect of them being more surveilled and they're monitored, their transactions are monitored, if when that becomes more obvious, we could see more of El Salvadorians also migrating to Monero as well. It depends on what actually happens. I think now, if now that they've made it legal tender, over time the El Salvador government can really take a peek on what exactly their citizens are spending their bitcoins on. If they actually are saving it away, or are they really spending it, and what's being mostly used to buy, and all those things. Depends on what their approach is going to be. Yeah, most likely governments have always had the incentive to not be honest and always track their citizens, and just to see that if they have to win the next elections, they are always at an advantage to see what the citizens are expecting, and they could just subsidize those things and get re-elected. That's one use case they have by surveilling. So who knows? Only the people there could decide what they eventually want to at least. But they have made a good move by not being under the slavery of the US dollar, which they can't print, but they are dependent on. So now they have another option to save themselves, and they can mine Bitcoin from their own natural sources like volcanoes and so on. So I think it's a great move. I don't see I don't see Bitcoin as a currency really, but an asset. But they are trying to use it as a currency. It's going to be a little harder for them because it's of the volatility and so on. Yeah.
Untraceable, you got any comments there?
The implementation, the way they're implementing Bitcoin in El Salvador is not great. It's like a private Lightning network. The Shiva wallet, it's also really bad. But as bad as the worst implementation of Bitcoin that they can come up with is still better than a CBDC, in my opinion. And it's good that they're running this experiment. The exposure is also good for just any digital assets in general, because the Bitcoin city is probably just going to end up being crypto city. I'm sure it's going to spread beyond that, even though Maximus might tell you otherwise. But the city also what's like zero capital gains taxes, zero income taxes. Yeah, that all sounds good. I'm not sure how they're going to make it all work, but yeah, I'm just watching. It doesn't seem like the worst thing, given that there's central. It's not a central bank, and it's not a CBDC, at least. It can be improved later on with self custody, and people will learn how to avoid the KYC from government. Possibly there's options. So yeah, I don't see it as necessarily a bad development what's happening in El Salvador, although yeah, like I said, the implementation is not so great.
Yeah, it's pretty wild that it even has happened. It's happened this fast, so it's hard not to say overall it's not exciting and a good thing. It's insane that there's a nation state trying to push Bitcoin to this level, and whatever their reasons may be, doesn't really matter. The fact that the game theory is working, and now we have nation states trying to play in the game here and trying to get an edge. And I think Untraceable is 100% correct. It's not going to just be Bitcoin City. It's inevitably going to become crypto city down there. It's just what's going to happen, or you'll have other countries that will step up and essentially compete in that way if they don't do it first. So,
and it is an experiment. So people are smart if they see things that Bitcoin lacks, or if they catch on to like, wow, this is not very private. Why am I even transacting with this? People are smart. They'll figure solutions. They'll self-custody more. They'll avoid KYC. They might even start using Monero or other options. But I think the biggest thing is it's not CBDC, and when we need more countries and more people going away from central banking. So that's good there.
Good stuff. Did we have somebody else to jump on?
Yeah, I think a Fungible wanted to chat. Hello. You're muted. We can't hear you. Hello.
Okay, Fungible, you're on mute.
You're on mute, I think.
Yes, as always. Yeah, I was just tuning in. Maybe after Untraceable, I can have a few words.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just doing a little bit of research some time back about some of the developing countries and their regulations around this private cryptocurrencies which they cannot track. I found something interesting because I can give you an example of a country like India, right? So they have something called Foreign Exchange Management Act, which is called FEMA regulations. What that means is they're very happy for money to move into the country. So let's take as an example for India, they like money. So if somebody sends money from, let's say, Russia or US or Europe, they're really happy to get in. So there is no limit. So you can send infinite amount of money because then that helps the local currency. But they are not at all happy, and it is against law to move money out of country. So if you want to, let's say, send the Indian rupees to let's say US, it is not as straightforward through banks because you have to fill up some paperwork. Even if you want to send something like $1,000, it's a lot of paperwork from what I hear. So they are really strict about this. But however, with this digital currency space coming in, it's very easy for people to both receive. Let's say what they do is they do arbitrage. That is, let's say they send one or whatever Bitcoin from US to the Indian exchange. And in Indian exchange, the price of Bitcoin, for instance, or other cryptocurrencies, even Monero, it's like usually 10%, 15% higher than the international prices. And they like to keep the stock of their own cryptocurrencies in India. So there is some kind of hidden rule, so to speak, that they cannot buy the cryptocurrencies from foreign exchange. So they have to trade with the cryptocurrency they already have in India. So when somebody sends, let's say, Bitcoin from abroad to Indian exchange, so Indian exchanges are happy because they have extra supply which people can trade with locally. But it's also possible for people to just withdraw out of the Indian exchanges and send it to abroad. So it's really smooth for the people in the nations. But now with this bill that they're coming up with, which I was actually reading, they want to prohibit this so-called private cryptocurrencies. And I think I also mentioned in the presentation before, it's not very clear what private actually means. Is it like stopping privacy coins, or is it stopping the whole ecosystem? Because as of today, you'll be surprised to know there are 100 million, that is almost 8 to 10% of Indians are into cryptocurrencies. Like at least they have something. They are trading actively and they have done their KYC, etc.
Can you just repeat the number, please?
Yes, it's almost like 8 to 10% of Indians have have invested in cryptocurrencies. So that is around 10 billion US dollars is being invested in it. So if government suddenly comes up with a ban, which they could, it's going to they're going to have a lashback because it's a democracy. It's not as easy. So in my opinion, from what I know from sources, they're not going to ban the privacy coins. Ban the whole ecosystem because they also have got foreign funding into the exchanges in India. So they just cannot do that. I mean, if they do that, people will going to go to Supreme Court, and they're more of a, let's say, greater democracy, so to speak. So my opinion is that they're gonna come back. Okay, this is something I want to speak about. As I said about this FEMA regulation, that they don't want money to go out of India because sometimes they fear that it's used for wrong activities because you have something going on between India and Pakistan with neighboring countries. Money can flow back and forth. So that's like a concern, and also that's the concern of the government. So with Bitcoin, the problem is I was through some source, I was in contact with somebody from a known exchange in India, and this is interesting. They got just last few months alone, they got around 400 requests from the Indian IRS, which is like the tax authority of India. I don't know what the exact name is. They got around 400 requests for tracking users' transactions, and it becomes really easy for the authorities. So there are many exchanges. Let's say there are hundreds of exchanges in India, maybe 10. It's okay if some of the exchanges have not done KYC, because let's say somebody withdraws public cryptocurrency, which is like, I would say Bitcoin, we can track and trace. It will end up landing up in certain exchange which has done KYC. So they are able to track the users' funds and movements, and that's why they get the request. But with something like a private cryptocurrency, this is completely ruled out. And my concern is that in India, they're going to go after this private cryptocurrency, that they're going to say to exchanges that, hey, we don't want you, please delist it. So I see that this is coming. So just to share this news, and this is coming in the next 2 weeks, I think.
Oh wow! And A-Fungible. So do you think what will the general response then be from the populace, the people that use crypto? Is it that they'll just then ignore privacy coins, or will there be some kind of Streisand effect where people may open their eyes to it a little bit more? Some subset there will be like, wait a minute, why are they doing this?
Yeah, this is a difficult question because from what I checked from the Indian news and media, most of them are talking about, there's a mixed opinion. So let's say there is 50-50. So people who are into this ecosystem, like as I said, 8 to 10%, which is like, for a country of 1 billion population, it's 100 million people. It's a big number. It's still 50-50. People who are into cryptocurrencies already, they kind of understand this, coins like Monero. But again, they want to, they lean towards the regulation side. So, India is probably not as mature as it comes to privacy. In Europe and US, people are talking about privacy. In Australia, people are talking about privacy. But in India, they're still, a few steps behind. So they think, privacy is not a big deal. But maybe it is in the future. Yes, to answer your question, there is a negative connotation happening right now in the Indian media, where they say Monero is used for illegal transactions, financial crimes, blah blah, and Bitcoin is it's better than Monero. That is like the kind of environment we have currently. So there is, let's say, it's leaning more towards the negative side.
All right, guys. But that changes nothing for Monero land or MoneroTopia. If you understand the stuff and you understand what it's all about, then honestly, these things really shouldn't concern you. This was kind of inevitable. We saw some version of this happening. We'll see how it shakes out. But Monero works just as well today as it did yesterday, and it will work better even tomorrow as more people continue to use it for its intended purpose, not just for trying to pump their fee up.
Yeah, and one more thing, Uch, it was kind of inevitable. I think we, as a Monero community, kind of already know this. It's just that there's a time period of evolution where people realize and slowly get there. So it's also in a way good because hardly anybody in India knew about Monero, but in the last 1 month, it's unbelievable that if everybody knows what that is.
That is unbelievable. I mean, that's really the hardest part when you think about it. If you're trying to get everybody to use some network, some protocol, the hardest thing to do is to get everybody to know it exists in the first place. So, I think the Streisand effect is a real thing. I think they're kind of doing the dirty work for us.
Yes, it's kind of like game theory in play.
100%. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up. Untraceable's making me really hungry here.
I
know. Don't eat me. Haven't you done enough?
Untraceable, we just want to thank you again for all the help with the event, getting the Monerotopia.com up again. It looks beautiful.
I know.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you guys for everything you do.
All right. Thank you, everybody. A Fungible, thanks for doing the price report again. Eon, thanks for jumping on again. Clarity Focus, thanks for being our special guest for the week. I recommend people check you out, check out your newsletter. Stop in anytime. That goes to everybody listening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, guys.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Good weekend, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.